Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be covering the main event for UFC 314, Volkanovski vs Lopes. Thank you for the support on my last video. I did a fight breakdown on how a hypothetical fight with Tom Aspinall versus John Jones would go, and yes, I say hypothetical because John still won't get in the cage with him, but that's besides the point. If you like the content, please don't forget to drop me a like, subscribe, and turn on the bell notification. It would really help me out, as I'm trying to get monetized as quickly as possible so I can then pursue a career in wrestling. Thank you so much, guys. And now, on to the video. On one side, you have Volkanovski, one of the greatest featherweights of all time, a former champion who has beaten the best in the world. On the other, you have Diego Lopes, a rising star with a dangerous submission game, knockout power, and a fearlessness that makes him a fan favorite. The question is, can Lopes pull off the upset, or would Volkanovski prove once again why he has been one of the most dominant fighters in the sport? Is Volk still that guy? Volkanovski is still one of the most well-rounded fighters in MMA. He took out Max Holloway 3 times, dismantled Yair Rodriguez, and even moved up to fight Islam Makhachev twice. He's got elite boxing, perfect distance control, and some of the best takedown defense we've ever seen in the featherweight division. On top of that, his cardio is ridiculous. He pushes a pace that most fighters simply can't keep up with. But here's where the questions start to creep in. He's coming off back-to-back knockout losses, and that changes things. Against Islam, it was a head kick. That can happen to anyone. But against Ilia Topuria, it was different. He got dropped, rocked, and finished. And at 35 years old, coming off that kind of knockout, you have to wonder if the durability that made him so hard to beat is finally fading. Now, let's talk about Diego Lopes. This guy went from being relatively unknown to one of the most hyped new faces in the UFC. It all started when he stepped in on 5 days' notice against Movsar Evloev, nearly submitted him multiple times, and made people realize he was a serious threat. Since then, he's been on a tear. He choked out Gavin Tucker in less than 2 minutes, then knocked out Pat Sabatini in just over a minute. The guy is dangerous everywhere. His submissions are slick, his striking is explosive, and he fights like he has nothing to lose. He thrives in chaos, but there's a big difference between finishing guys outside the top 5 and trying to take out someone like Volkanovski. On the feet, Volkanovski should have a clear edge. His boxing is levels above Lopes's. He outstruck Holloway, who has some of the best hands in the sport, and he dominated Rodriguez, who is one of the best kickers in MMA. Lopes relies more on athleticism and power. He swings big, and he's willing to take risks. That works against mid-level opponents, but against someone as calculated as Volk, that's a recipe for disaster. Lopes gets hit a lot, and if he just marches forward looking for a big shot, he's going to get picked apart. The real X factor in this fight is the grappling. Lopes is dangerous off his back, and his submission game is one of the best in the division. If he catches you slipping, you're in trouble. But Volkanovski has fought and survived against world-class grapplers. Ortega had him in a fully locked-in guillotine, and Volk somehow powered through it. Islam took him down multiple times, but Volk still made it competitive. If those guys couldn't submit him, is Lopes really going to be the one to do it? It's possible, but unlikely. More than likely, Lopes will try to force submissions, burn a ton of energy in the process, and then find himself in a bad spot later in the fight. Then there's the cardio factor. Volkanovski has gone 5 rounds multiple times. He knows how to manage his energy, push a high pace, and stay dangerous deep into a fight. Lopes hasn't had to prove that yet. He's been finishing fights quickly, which is great, but what happens if Volk drags him into the 4th and 5th rounds? If Lopes can't get the early finish, he's in serious trouble. So how does this fight actually play out? The The first possibility is that Lopes catches Volk early, either with a big shot or a quick submission, and pulls off a shocking first-round finish. That's the only realistic way he wins this fight. But the more likely scenario is that Volkanovski avoids the danger, keeps the fight standing, and picks Lopes apart with volume and movement. As the fight goes on, Lopes starts to slow down, and Volk either gets a late stoppage or wins a dominant decision. The final prediction? Volkanovski by 4th round TKO. Lopes is talented, he's exciting, and he'll probably be a serious contender in the future. But right now, he's not ready for someone like Volk. The experience gap, the striking gap, and the fight IQ difference are all too much. Lopes might have moments, but over the course of 5 rounds, Volkanovski would prove why he's still one of the best in the world. What is your prediction for this fight? Does Lopes have a real shot, or is Volk just too experienced? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.